What's good, bro?
What's up, G?
Just chilling, man. Just chilling. How you been?
Busy, bro. Busy. Just like right now,
Yeah.
we coming off of just steady working right now. So
Yeah.
it never stops, bro. It never stops.
I
But
hopped I hopped on Wise Dome today, bro.
oh, did you? Hey, man,
Yeah.
don't be popping, G.
Yeah.
As you
Yeah.
can see, we be in that thing heavy.
Yeah. Do my best to get engaged and involved. Like I was telling you, man, I over consumed. I kind of like had to kind of step back after that interview with Brandon and like get back to life a little bit. Because I was just like I took his course and then I was watching all his podcasts and I like asked him to come on the podcast. So felt like I needed to be super prepared. Um, so yeah, and then I have watched a little bit of your content, but nothing close to what I had done with Brandon.
Yeah.
He considers you the man when it comes to driving versus traveling. Today I was listening to day 2 of the Sovereignist Citizen. I didn't get through it because that's like 5 hours, but you were talking about irreparable harm,
Yeah.
which was great talk, by the way. How would you consider yourself in this space? Because like I told you, and like I said at the end of the episode with Brandon, what made me feel like Cam is he's this fucking man is your just unashamed love of God and like the creator and that spiritual angle that you come from that I don't hear that from others in the space, which is why I was like, I think Cam's the next one I want to talk to. How would you describe yourself within the space?
Man, how do I describe myself? I don't know. I just describe myself as a normal person, just like everybody else. I think if I had to describe myself in any kind of way, I would just say I'm an autodidactic researcher. So with that autodidactic research mentality of always searching and finding and trying to put pieces together or debunk things, I love debunking things or putting seeing some kind of flaw and then figuring out where the flaw came from and getting to the bottom of that issue or flaw in and of itself. So I guess in that aspect, in this space, I'm just the deepest researcher, I would say, if anything, not the deepest. I'm not trying to put a title on myself, but yeah, I'm just researcher, bro. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm not asking for a title as much as like how I would describe Brandon to give you an example is his focuses or his emphases are the definition of person / U.S. civilian versus state civilian or citizens U.S. citizen versus state citizen, negotiable instruments, UCC3, and the slaughterhouse cases. There's a few other things that he obviously covers, but those are what I would say are like the main things that he dives deep into. What would you say are the main things? Like he would say you're the driving versus traveling guy.
Yeah, I wouldn't say that because when it comes down to me, even though that is a main aspect of, I guess you could maybe say I'm the driving versus traveling guy. That's cool. If you want to say that, cool. I've
Well, that's
mastered
why I'm
that.
asking. But I'm asking you, what else? I guess what else would you
I mean, that
consider
is our
yourself?
main. Okay,
Okay.
so that is our main staple, right? Because we are moving for traffic law reform. Let's not get it twisted here. We definitely have legislative bills that we've already started to formulate, and actually, they're almost complete. We just got minor details to go in relation to capital and capitalization revenue that's placed in or gathered in each state, right? You got to get all that data so you can put it in there and see actually how much revenue they're going to be losing in a sense, but that's going to be back to the people, which is back spent through the state, right?
Yeah.
So it's all great for economy wise. Either way though, with that whole petition, traffic law reform, and getting that movement going, I'd say more than anything, I'm more in relation to understanding who you are again. What I've come to realize is through all of this, people have come to now make me realize, I guess, the deeper principles. And this is kind of early on. I'm thinking maybe February now, on how everything that at least what we're teaching and putting forth in the world is allowing people to realize, like, first off, it's therapy, right? That's the overarching thing that I'm being told is that apparently I'm therapy. My teachings are therapy. And that's cool because again, it's making people see who they are. Like people forget, they just start to think, oh, we're evolution, and since evolution is just you're here and you're gone, and that we didn't come back, or that the reincarnation's not real, or that the divine
Everything's
and creators,
random.
yeah,
Random
everything's
accident.
random. Yes, there's no
It's all
creator.
coincidence.
Yes, just coincidence. No creator, no plan, no action, no purpose, right? And so when you get outside of that aspect again and really realize and encompass and then tap into the source, which is the ether, which is all existence, then you start to really comprehend again who you are. You start to realize that you're not just you, but you actually are God, right? You're a perspective of God. And then when you look at every other person, you're starting to realize that, damn, that person's God too, and God is looking at me, and I must respect that person with the utmost respect because God is looking at me through that perspective, right? So then it turns into, okay, well, yeah, that just literally translates into law. So how can I transfer those thoughts, those beliefs, those knowings that are deep in, like it's a knowing, no one needs to teach you that. It just is known. So what has happened with that knowing?
So as I told you in our introductory call, the four agreements is like the central theme for this podcast and just my life in general. I think everything comes down to agreements. And what you're doing, and the reason I agree that it's therapy, is you are unveiling agreements that were kind of forced on us. They're not even like we didn't actually agree to them knowingly. They were just deceptively put, in a way, like the color of law, as you were talking about, or just like
What we call?
Yeah.
Do you know what we call that? We call that presumptions.
Presumptions, exactly. 100% presumptions, exactly. And that's why the third agreement is don't make any assumptions.
Yeah.
If you have the courage to ask the question, you can clear things up.
Yeah, well, everything with them is presumptions and assumptions everywhere. I mean, they're all over the place. I don't care where you go. You're still going to have someone that presumes that they have more authority over you. Always. It's so weird. But yeah, that's why we say you got to rebut that shit, right?
Yeah, yep, exactly.
Yeah. Quick plug. Yeah, we got a PDF called Rebut That Shit. You can go grab that. But it's pretty cool because, yeah, there's so many presumptions that are placed upon you, both in the court, they all coming from Roman law. So if you start getting into the depths of rebutting those presumptions right on the forefront as far as a reservation of rights and then just an invoking of certain maxims, principles, doctrines, then you're really able to do some damage as far as depths go, should I say. So.
And that's actually the point where you were at in the sovereignist citizen talk where I had to get off. But you were starting to talk about some of these maxims and forget the word you use for it. But I think the very first one that you were talking about was started with an L, and now it's slipping my mind, of course.
Oh, lenity.
Yes. Yeah. Is that?
Yeah, lenity. Yeah.
Lenity
is really
yes.
cool. And how we've used lenity and how we will always use lenity is the aspect that the legislation always writes, the legislature, in a manner that is very precise, with very specific words and definitions that correlate over to legalese, both in blacks, Bovieres, and all across the board, right, etc. And most of those have a very common aspect of the definition within the law, right? Versus what we're seeing over in Webster's and our common English dictionaries. So if we're seeing the distinction between the two, and we see that the statutes that are being applied don't necessarily allow us to fit, or are they applicable, that causes an issue. So if there's an issue in that and we see it, we invoke the rule of lenity, right? So that way they cannot go outside of those bounds. It's like a hearing, a contested hearing on saying, hey, well, I'm going to invoke the rule of lenity because they're trying to apply a statute that is narrowly tailored to fit in between these barriers. And see, what happens is they go outside those barriers a lot, right? By saying something like this, you see what I'm saying? Ends up being now my placard. Now, let's say this actually would probably fall in line with something very similar to what could be represented if it was on a motorcycle as fraud or misrepresentation, right? As fictitious plates. Why? Because it's got the Texas. It's got the star. It's got Texas up top. It's saying the Lone Star State. Looks like a real motorcycle plate, something that might get
a DMV
right?
plate, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, this would be what's called a fictitious plate. But if you're making your own plate, I don't care what it says. It could say literally private. It could say eat whatever, right? And you have it on the back. Okay, honestly, man, it's a notice placard. It's not a fictitious plate, and it's not fraud. But we've had DAs and police officers try to prosecute on just that very same thing. And so we've invoked the rule of lenity, again, showing that they cannot go outside of those barriers on which the statute applies. And in such cases, on most levels in relation to, not fictitious, but the, it is fictitious plates, and the fraud aspect of those plates, is that the statutes are very clear when they say any document, right? And it must replicate very clearly a state plate, such as what I just showed you. So yeah, they got to stay in those lines. If they don't, we're invoking rule lenity for sure, for sure. And if there's any aspects of what they're doing that's applied to you, it must be ruled in your favor. So even a little bit of them applying it, it must be ruled in your favor. So yeah, it's a big one. It's a good one.
What are some of these other ones that we can leverage that
The
most
fruit of the
people don't know?
poisonous tree.
Okay, I did hear you mention that, but you weren't able to go into that before I got to it.
Yeah, the fruit of the poisonous tree is golden, right? Because again, it's the point in which everything else has to be suppressed because of any kind of constitutional violations. And those constitutional violations are kind of like just the base and a barrier.
Okay, so anything that happens after that is basically like wiped because
null and void.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So let's take, for example, there was a case out in Wyoming. Okay, I think it was back in 2022 or something like that. And this dude was traveling or driving. I don't know what he was doing, but he was on the roads doing the speed limit, not violating any traffic. There was no violations whatsoever that could be found. Right? And he gets up ahead of this cop, and this cop, he gets out and he's speeding and he's doing 111 to catch up to this guy. Well, he's tailgating him. He's up close. So this guy, people, when they got cops up close behind them, getting closer and closer, you're kind of like, dude, get up off my ass. You're trying to, move up a little bit. When they get closer again, trying to scare you. And apparently this guy got too close to the truck in front of him. So then, of course, the cop pulls him over, right? Well, what ends up happening is through that traffic stop, they ended up finding 42 pounds of marijuana, okay? And they ended up arresting the guy. Now, the guy ends up pleading guilty and stating that he's going to reserve his right to appeal. Okay, so he pleads guilty or no contest. They find him guilty. He immediately appeals it. Goes up to the higher court. The higher court says, this has to be reversed and overturned because this cop can't go 111 to catch up to him to then say that he's going to pull him over because he got too close to the truck when you're the one doing 111 back there. Due to the circumstances around this, case is thrown out. You see, it's very important to know when that fruit of the poisonous tree occurred or any kind of issues are underlying.
Now, is that a colloquialism or is that somewhere in a statute or a regulation, the fruit of the poisonous tree, that phrase?
It's the aspect that the cop cannot commit a crime to go after somebody when they didn't even violate anything anyways.
I see. Right.
Then by tailgating, they caused the incident to occur. See what I'm saying?
Right.
All that got null and void thrown out. Now, most of the time, yes, it's not just about cars and stuff. We're all over the place, bro. We're in civil courts. We're in assault charges. We're in family court. I mean, we're all over the place as far as people in wisdom coming in and learning and building up themselves to be able to be successful. This is all over. It's not just traffic law. So yeah, it's pretty wild in that regard. So,
well, I actually meant to start with this, but I had to ask those questions since they were brought up. But to start, I really wanted to get your story and what life experiences led you to have such a strong conviction in God, which for me is like a knowing versus a belief. But what experiences led to that for you? And then what experiences led you into this, I guess, law study, sovereignty field?
Well, dude, that's kind of a long story. So if I go from short version, it would probably be the aspect that I always grew up in a church. So like my family from like, I don't know, the age of like me being 3 all the way up to like 6 maybe, we lived in a tour bus and we traveled. We went from church to church to church to church to church. And my family was a gospel group and they pulled me out, play the drums out there and come out to Tuxedo and have the thing to get some money, you know what I'm talking? And we go from church to church, and that's what we did for a long time. And then we settled in Dallas, got raised up in Dallas, and again, just played drums all throughout my whole life, all the way up to I think I was probably like 15, 16. And then my family split up at that time, actually. And I actually ended up getting in trouble quite a lot, matter of fact. And getting in and out of jail, in and out of trouble, led me to understanding just how the system works. Honestly, how corrupted it was now that I'm looking at how old I am now and then looking at it back then. And just realizing how much abuse I actually sustained while being in Dallas, to be honest with you. Like, it was some pretty bad, like, I could be a millionaire if I would have pursued the abuse that happened to me. But because it was such commonplace, I was just like, oh, they're allowed to do this and nothing about it. And then, of course, when you call lawyers really, there's really no one that's really answering to it. There's really nobody that's like, yeah, I'm there to help you out, bud.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate, But yeah, man, I'd probably be a millionaire from a lot of the things that happened to me, including like, I ended up running over a cop one time, dude, on accident. And that whole event was so dramatic. And I have such irreparable harm from that, like PTSD, still to this day, dude. Yeah, like still to this day, it's pretty bad. And I never pursued that. I had like 20 years thrown at me, and it was pretty egregious, bro. And then, yeah, coming down it to like not scarred at all was really crazy situation. But I
Was
think
that was
anything.
was that the moment where you really dove into this stuff, or?
No, see, because I've always been a heavy researcher, even from the very beginning. So, like, let's say even like all throughout me getting in trouble, I was in the streets real heavy, right? I'm doing my music thing and we're touring, that whole type of life and vibe. In 2011, I got into a car accident and I lost my leg. This is right when I'm doing a whole bunch of shows in Dallas. Like, our group's finally getting some hype. Big hit to me and my personality and everything. But I've always been this guy. Even like, let's say even before I lost my leg. I've always been that guy that was speaking knowledge into people wherever I was. So it didn't matter if I was in the studio. It didn't matter if I was in jail. I was always the guy that had a group of people around me telling them about information as far as research. So probably at this time, it's more around 9/11. It's more around different types of conspiracies, not necessarily about law, but just deep intellectual, I guess, information that these people are not privy to. Like, dead ass, bro. And so, being able to just teach, I've always had that aspect of giving someone good information. Dedicated reader all the time, anywhere, all the time, like all the time. And then it got to a point, where I lost my leg and I died. They brought me back to life. I think that was probably a significant turning point
And you got
in my
hit by a semi, right?
Oh no! Well, so we got hit by semi first, yeah, when we hydroplane, and then I spun out, and then I got out the car and went to go get our bumper behind us. It's like 11:30 at night though, and there's like nobody on the highways because it's pouring so bad, dude. And I see my bumper, so I go to get it, and as I'm walking back, this truck loses control, dude, Silverado truck, and he hits me doing 75 miles an hour. I don't know how he didn't drag me or nothing, bro. It's like the wildest situation. So yeah, I flatline. They bring me back, hit me with the defib. I come back, I'm up. I wake up, I lose my leg. Cool. So then after that, what it did though is it made me go through a spiritual awakening because that experience in and of itself was so life changing. It was like, whoa, what's happening? And I was able to experience DMT at that time. That really opened up my perception and awareness to understanding this reality more and where we are, and that this reality definitely has more layers upon it. We aren't just our natural tuned state is seeing what we see now, right? Again, the 40% of the sun, and there's 60 other percent we can't see. So with that aspect, then I come from that more into, I guess, a spiritual awakening, which is more of the deeper intellectual side, or the spirit or division. So getting more into my esoteric Gnostic type of information and knowledge and figuring out more of the I am. I always had reached out to all of these religions and read all of them. So the Quran, the Urantia Book, the Bhagavad Gita. I mean, I've read like literally Dead Sea Scrolls, all of the ones that they didn't bring in, Mary Magdalene, all that, right? And I got really deep into all that. Then I came in, yeah. So came from all that Book of Enoch, and then said, "Oh, now we're getting into some history aspects," and started saying, "Okay, we're coming from Gnostic and esoteric." Now into deeper history in relation to America, because it seems like they say all roads lead to Rome, but they actually lead to America. So then I got entrapped in the history in America and the duplications within the phantom and the timeline for the past, I don't know, thousand years, most definitely at least. And getting into the true depths of America and finding out that the land of the Bible is America, and that Atlantis is America, and that all religions and all peoples from all over the world come from America. Like, that was a huge trip in itself. Like, I've gotten to the point where we're speaking about Huehuetlapalan, which is the oldest name of America, which was spoken of by the ancestors of the Toltecs. But yet everybody's speaking as though the Toltecs was the oldest with the Olmecs. Please let me not confuse people here. Yes, the Olmecs and Toltecs have things in writings that state that their ancestors came from the north, which is the old red land, also known as Huehuetlapalan, which is Nahuatl language. So our Nahuatls or Nahuatl people are the oldest people of this land. That's your Atlanteans. That's your Cutans, your Atalans, all Atlans, your Tlapalans. You got so many in that category alone. But yes, this is a distinct character of people who were in Middle America, who flourished and made all of the great societies in which flourished all across the world. Yes, we call them now mound builders. No Native Americans claim those lands, right? We have to understand the depths of America. And once you understand the depths of America, then you can see the rest of the world for what it truly is, as far as everybody coming back to realize what America is, but keeping it under wraps. That's what secret societies do. So then, got their books. We can read them if you want. They ain't so secret anymore. We're 2025, baby. So then I come now. I've in that aspect of doing all of the religions, and then coming in and looking at all of the esoterics and all the secrets, and then coming in and not being a member of though, and then coming in and looking at all of the history while intertwining the metaphysical. Shout out to Seven Bomar and Secret Energy. We gather that all in, and there's always been law, and always been remedy, and always been SPC, and who's doing this and who's doing that, always to find that there's no resolution other than the trust, right? Other than the trust. And then I just, after so many years, I think, man, there has to be at least collectively five years of me researching back and forth in law very heavily on the SPC and all this other stuff, right? To find no resolution other than the trust. And then coming into law and me already doing the right to travel for 10 years, like I was just never going to succumb myself to it. Like, I'm sorry, I can't succumb myself to somebody saying that I'm required to do something. I can never be required. So I've always been right to travel, no driver's license. And yeah, I've always been beating them. I haven't gone to jail for a right to travel. Yeah. Yesterday I got pulled over. No driver's license, no insurance, no registration, no tow, tickets. Like, I don't get arrested.
And you would attribute that to just your knowledge of self first, but then a level below that, the law or statutes, regulations.
Somewhat and not really. It's like you have to tap into the ether of allowing people to understand that we are all one and stand on that, at least somewhat. And it's not in a prideful manner. It's like, hey, dude, I know you hear me. Please don't try to educate me or try to like make me think like you. I know the law, and explaining that. And sometimes, yeah, it's mentioning things like Rodriguez versus United States. Like yesterday, for one instance, when they pulled me over, I was like, all right, man, y'all need to stop asking me all these questions. Rodriguez versus United States says y'all have a de minimis amount. You can't extend the stop a de minimis amount of time, past just issuing the citation. You got my name, issue the citation, let's go. Right? Stop prolonging this encounter. And as soon as I said that, they got to it. It was like, and then the sergeant turns around, he goes, well, it's within reasonable time period. I said, it is reasonable. I told you my name. I showed you my back. It's got my name tattooed on it. Like, come on, dude. Let's go. Issue the tickets and let me go. You're not going to railroad me today. But, I think it is an inner knowing. It's knowing who you are, knowing you're part of the I am, standing on that, knowing that rules and regulations and statutes are not law. They're policies and codes. You must give consent. One thing that comes over with the citizen aspect, I see citizen in a total different way because I look at the aspects of the context in which it was used at the time period in which they were using it the most in relation to, again, sovereign being free, and then citizen meaning an American. And if you're an American, you're part of a body of a society here. that has a duty. It goes beyond just the citizen as far as like a corporation, because the citizen ties into the American, and the American has a duty to uphold morals, integrity, honor, the uplifting of his fellow brethren and sister, right? Like
So
these are things.
you're referring to what Brandon would call the state citizen then.
Well, I mean, if y'all want to put a title of state before it, then what you're doing is you're succumbing yourself to a state. So if you leave it as just
lowercase state.
Well, I mean, even
versus U.S.
I mean, yeah, if you're going with your nationality as far as like me, I'm Californian. So yeah, you could say it in that regard, yes. But again, will I ever succumb myself truly to say I'm a Californian? No, I wouldn't, because I'm above all entities and titles of nobility, right? So if we're looking at it as I'm above all titles of nobility because I am, then where are we really looking at it as? There becomes a realization and clicking moment in your life. Like, let's say for this example, DMT. When you do it, it's like instantaneous. It's not like weed where you kind of like, you're subtly chill.
Oh, I know. I used to make it.
Yeah, DMT is instant. So if you're in that instantaneous light switch from current body aspect, right, more of a mortal aspect right now in this state, to flipping the switch to just essence, almost like soul, that frequency is so high that it's almost just soul frequency. What you realize then is that you are dual in that aspect. You will return back and then return back again in whatever form here there is, if there's in multiples throughout. And when you realize that, you understand there is no control force over you in this reality, and there can never be until you pose a harm to another. But that's just that's just the laws of nature. Right. And if it's the laws of nature, then it's the laws of God, and you can't supersede that. Period.
Right.
Until there's a contract, until there's consent that's given, and it still must be knowingly, willingly, and intention. Right. If you're not aware of all those rules, then it's not all three of those, and it cannot stand. So then, where are we at? We're actually in a system in which, now that we've become more aware, nothing can actually be applied because it wasn't willingly, knowingly, and intentionally. So we're back to, again, it being fraud in almost all aspects, thereby applying constitutional rights, creator-endowed liberties, natural law, your maxims and doctrines which support that, and laying back and saying, now you rebut what I just put forward.
Right. Yeah, that is something, if you can just use their tactic on them, make the presumptions that you need to make.
Well, it's about burden shifting. You just got to shift the burden.
Shift the burden, right.
Prove without a reasonable doubt that what I said isn't true.
Right.
And you have to do that because I brought it forward. It's a chess game. Everybody got to play their moves. But the thing is that if they don't answer to everything that I'm putting forth, so you skip something, then that's called tacit acquiescence. Yeah. And you're accepting what I've brought forth.
Right.
Like, for instance, I went to go file a notice of liability today because I got pulled over yesterday. Now I got to go file a notice of liability. Y'all want to keep okay, you ain't going to mess with me again because they said, you're not going to ride off on that motorcycle back home today, boy. I said, damn, I ain't. You ain't going to tell me. And they grabbed my key out the ignition. And he said, I'll have it towed right now. I said, okay. You got a warrant? Man, you better give me back my keys, bro. You better quit playing with me. We had already had an okay conversation. It was all good. Everybody was laughing. There was literally 4 cop cars, at least 5 cops. 5 cops. 6 cops. 6 cops. Five. And they were surrounding me, man. And I was just like, this is crazy. I got out of it okay. I recorded some of it, most of it. And yeah, he gave me the key back. No, he tried to put it back in the ignition. I said, no, hand me my key, man. You're going to take out my key like that out of the ignition. That's not cool. And he handed it back to me. He said, don't you go riding off now. Man, I rode off about 2 minutes later. Went all, man, get out of here, man. I'm not going to play with you dudes. This time I'm like, you better not. You already gave me a ticket. You can't hit me again. That'd be double jeopardy. You got to let me go to court and handle up on it. So if they would, see how they threaten you? Oh, you can't pull me over again. Tell me I can't leave. I have to have somebody. You can't do that. You've issued me a ticket. Now we're going to go figure it out. You're going to get proved wrong. So we'll show you. But anyways, I went to go file this notice of liability today. And that's where your power's at. Everything's about notice. Everything's about notice. You got to put them on notice. Everybody.
All right. And how does that work?
Remember how we was talking about presumption?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a presumption you're just like everybody else out there in law, right? Until you rebut that presumption, it stands, right?
You mean in terms of like they're just going to assume or presume that you're complying with all their regulations and statutes and
Yes.
bullshit, horseshit?
Yes. Essentially, yes.
Got it.
So
Yep.
if you put, let's say you go and put a notice of liability in with these agencies, these corporations, because that's what they are. They're corporations. We know that. They're meant to serve us, though. Although they're
And what
corporations.
corporation specifically are you talking about? Like
Police,
state of California? Okay, so
police
specific
department,
police departments. Gotcha.
sheriff's departments,
Hmm.
your troopers departments, which are up under the attorney general, all those bad boys, right? They're all
Got it.
agencies.
All the
Okay?
law enforcement agencies. Got it.
Agencies. Those are normally the only people that are going to come out and harass you, right?
Gotcha. Hmm.
Normally, aren't those literally the
No,
only?
no, that's
that,
facts. Facts.
I mean, I don't get in any fights. I don't have any haters. I don't have anybody else in this world that tries to tell me what to do other than cops. But yeah, I don't even commit crimes.
Yeah, no, that's a great point.
It's pretty wild. So, with that being said, apparently I have to go put a notice of liability with those agencies that may violate my rights because I may reside somewhere within what they term as their jurisdiction in the corporate realm. In the corporate realm, with those who have consented, in which they have a contract with, right?
Yeah.
How do they establish that contract? Through driver's license. You give up rights for a privilege. See, yesterday they was all like, we don't know who you are because you're not in our system. That's right. I'm not contracted with the state. Do you see how this works?
Do you have a passport?
No, I don't got none of that, bro.
Okay.
All I got is my birth certificate apostille. That's it. I got all full faith and credit. That's all I need. I don't need no passport. That's another contractual agreement. I ain't got no DOT. What is that? Department of Transportation. I'm not transporting anything. What do I need DOT for? I'm not a carrier. That's still part of the DOT and transportation codes. I'm not a carrier. What? A carrier? What? No. You need to go watch my advanced course. It's on playlist. Advanced course. Go watch it. Okay? Now we'll talk about carriers. It's a 15-hour course. You'll love it, bro. It's so much fun. So
I will love it. That's awesome, the funny part.
Bro. It's awesome. So the thing about it too, though, is that these things are all binding contracts. Why are we getting ourselves in binding contracts? Asking for some kind of permission or utilizing some kind of validation. The only validation you need is you yourself.
Mm-hmm. Fact.
There can be nothing brought against you without a warrant or an indictment. Period. 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 The only other way is if you've contracted.
So if you wanted to go to Europe, would you just like hit up somebody that could get you on a private jet? Is that
bam? That's how you do it.
That's how you do it, right?
Private, baby. People be like, "Well, how am I going to get to other countries?" You think you can't get to another country privately?
Yeah.
You think there's no other way to get to somewhere else that you want to go privately?
No.
Do you think that if you've set up your own trust and maybe your own little nation aspect of how you would formulate things truly on your own power, not through any other agency but your own, and you reached out as ambassador or leader or whatever title you're taking amongst what you've created over to their agencies of wherever you're seeking to go and initiate traveling aspects with maybe your birth certificate that's apostille? You think you couldn't possibly work out something?
Yeah, no, hey, everybody's got a number when it comes to these negotiable instruments and currencies and whatever. Somebody's got something that they want.
If you're standing on true power and sovereign is who you are, you can reach out to any other nation.
Right.
It's again, how much are you willing to take on as far as your power? It's not an ego thing. It's just saying, I finally realize who I am. So I'm going to operate. The president operates in this manner with other nations. Well, by golly gee, I know who I am and I can as well. Since I am above him, he is my servant, by the way. He is my servant, is he not?
Facts.
I mean, then that leads me to believe that I am. I mean, we have so much case law, just speak for a moment on some things real quick while I try and find some.
So, okay. This is a little tangent and it's not fully related, but what was your rehab like? I had my feet run over by a forklift and it was, I only have a partially amputated toe. They shaved the bone back and there was some infection in there, so they had to like shave that off, and it's kind of a funky big toe, and both of my feet were totally crushed. But still, overall, like it was almost like the rehab was. I already believed in God. I was already a very spiritual person. Already kind of like led this lifestyle, so to speak. But the level of strengthening and the level of just like the healing process is just like proof that there's a intelligent design, cellular, even more microscopic than that. It's just like in us. You know, the 99% of an atom is empty space. Like that's our intention. Like the unseen is where we exist there too. You know, and it's anyways. I say all of that to ask like you lost, I'm guessing, from your knee down or you're like your quad down.
Yeah, below BKA, below knee amputee.
Mm.
Yeah.
And when you were in that rehab process,
My rehab process was actually okay. So the moment of going from losing my leg to finally getting a prosthetic was my brother's strength. My brother Ethan, he brought me up along with another dude named Colin, and the Colin dude I had just met after I had lost my leg, because I was doing rehab with my family, and so. But my brother brought me up out of all the depression. Like what am I going to do now, and where am I going
right,
to go? How's life
right,
going to, move?
yeah,
And like, what the heck?
definitely the lowest point in my life too, for sure.
Yeah. What the
Yeah,
heck just happened?
yeah,
Yeah, because I was just so athletic, and I was doing so much. I had a lot of shows. I was doing a lot of music, so it was just crazy. And
yep.
um, but when I got my leg, um, right shortly after is when I went through everything with that cop. Where that's what
The one
made
where
him
you
fall
ran him
on the
over.
car. Yeah, because I
Mhm.
had that one leg, and so letting go of the gas, I wasn't even realizing because I'm flinching. A gun's getting pointed at me, and I'm flinching. And the car's already in drive, and I'm just not used to it still, right? So that whole situation came from not
Not, yeah,
realizing. Yeah, I
right.
lost a leg, and so that was just another hard blow, and so just a lot of different things happened in that time period that made me say I had to leave Texas, right, and try my life somewhere else. And I literally moved up to Oregon and started my own cannabis company, and actually did really good in that. And from there, just kind of transitioned. You got to have some kind of real life job, and transitioned from that into what I'm kind of doing now, other than just self-sustaining through 1099s and businesses, independent businesses that want to do business with me as far as consulting wise. But yeah, I mean, it's been a weird transition, but hey, I can run. If y'all want to put some money down on some foot races, like I'm probably gonna beat y'all. Like I'm probably gonna beat
Shit,
you, bro.
for real? I
Fast,
don't
bro.
know,
Like for
man.
real, bro.
My nine and
For
three
real,
quarter
bro.
toes can move pretty good, pretty good too.
I got a cheetah foot, bro. I don't think you want to mess with it, dog. Like
I might have
I
to
got
try.
spring. Yeah, I got extra spring in my. I'm dead ass, bro. You very ready?
All right, you're
Yeah,
on.
okay. You okay. Here, I want to show you something. Do I got share options?
Yeah,
It's in real
yeah.
fast. Okay,
Do
there.
it up.
We try this share, and then boom. This is just one quote. But the people of the state, as the successors of its former sovereign, are entitled to all the rights which formerly belonged to the king by his own prerogative. Okay? So that means I am now the king. You get that?
Yeah,
That means I am now the king. Guess what? Mr. Carson, Garnett, House of Carson, you're
King
now the king.
Carson.
King
Yeah, there you
Carson,
go.
you are now the king. Okay?
Yeah,
Just want you to remember that, buddy. Okay? So, yeah, you are now the king.
I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the what were they doing? Like the whole no kings protest. I was like, why don't they make it an all kings? You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
straight
Like,
up.
what's the no kings about? Like,
I
it
am the
shouldn't
king.
just be one king. I agree with that, but like, why not all kings? Like, why not learn? Why
I
not
am the
connect your?
king.
Why exactly? I am. Why not
I
connect
am the
yourself
king.
to the
Yeah.
I am? Why not connect yourself to all of existence,
All of existence.
reality?
And that's what's going to change everything. See, the biggest point of everything and why I stayed back, like I've been the person that likes to debunk. So if I would see somebody that's putting out false information, I would come and let them know. Like I'd stop that because I think you should stop. I'm telling you right now. and really people would stop. Like I've stopped some really big organizations from continuing down paths which they knew they shouldn't go in relation to trying to achieve a narrative of history. Like seriously, bro, the emails are crazy. Where was I trying to get with this? Okay, so the aspect though here is that this is what's been happening over all this time with this sovereign citizen movement. What I've noticed is like that's propaganda, bro. And it's major propaganda to make people think that these people really don't have their rights. Because what's happened is that they've termed anybody who stands on their religion and faith as a sovereign citizen now. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you can stand on your faith, or you can stand on your religion, or you can stand on just what you believe in without hurting anybody. You're literally creator-endowed liberties, sacred liberties to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And they're labeling that now. Even constitutionalists. We've had people literally, cops come out and say, "Oh, you're one of those constitutionalists, huh?" Um,
Like that's derogatory.
no, yeah, I'm a constitutionalist, aren't you?
Yeah.
Like they don't even know what they're saying anymore.
Yeah.
So if someone even refutes or rebuts anything in their authority in relation to the process of knowing the law, then they just get termed a sovereign citizen.
Yeah.
If they're not an obedient sheep, they're a sovereign citizen now. And that's what I've come to show. So beforehand, and this is why I always stuck all of my videos, bro, from
I
all
mean,
of
no,
my
sovereign citizen seems to be the new conspiracy theorist.
well, I'm telling you now, check this. All of my stops, like Brandon said, I saved them. And that's the only reason I put them out. Brandon was like, you should go ahead and put up all your videos. And I was like, I guess maybe it is time to put up all my videos. I've been saving them for years. All my proof since 2017. And when I first started getting more proof because I was getting pulled over. And I started putting it all up. And I watched all this time and never wanted to put it up because I saw that anybody that did it was getting labeled a sovereign citizen.
Mm.
And I didn't want to get put in that thing, and I didn't really want the attention, honestly. I was chilling in the background. And uh what am I trying to get from? Oh, everything that was on the internet was like literally hating and bashing on people, and it was a lot of division. Like people that were getting stopped and was getting thrown into the sovereign citizen lump, or like people who were actually like not saying anything intellectually and just spouting off anything and everything. And that bothered me because,
I saw
well,
your video. You were calling somebody out the other day for basically using other people's content and to then sell their own courses.
and then
Yeah.
all the while saying they do it. He probably came into Wisdom, took it, and then went to go sell it, and then used my video because it's my material. Like, look at there, look at that. See how that works? But that's because I'm so willing and freely to give. Like, I don't care. You can come into the Discord and chill, bro. Like, I truly give because I feel like the empowerment is through unity, education, knowledge. Like a unification again. The empowerment comes through knowledge. That's the only way people are going to lose the fears if you have the knowledge and know who you are.
Yeah.
Once you know who you are, then
The
everything else is
truth.
easy.
The truth, man. That to me, it comes down to truth versus lies. Like the truth is, we are, we exist, man. We have purpose. Like we said it at the very beginning of the episode. They chalk everything up to randomness and coincidence, and that ain't it, man. Every moment has a purpose. It's a very rich life when you start to see it that way. Our existence means something. We only have this moment. The past is a memory. The future hasn't happened yet. You know what I'm saying? And you can spend your time worrying about the future, but then you're losing the moment. You know what I
See,
mean?
I don't even look. See, you just said though the last two words you said is what it is though, and will always be. There is no time. There's no past or present. It's
Right.
always the moment.
Right.
See, we look at it like that because we can't comprehend that it always has and always will be. You see, it's always been the moment. There's no past, present. It's always.
Now.
Yeah, we're just seeing this movement as time, but
Hmm.
it's not. It's always now. So yeah, man, those depths get really deep.
Yeah, I
Yeah, it is
actually,
very.
I've talked about this on the podcast before. One of my more radical beliefs is that we can change the past. Like linear thinking says that you can't change the past. You can change now, and now can change the future. But like your way of thinking, where everything is right now. Well, if you change from the inside out, like at your essential level, that changes the past. Like
Yeah, in
I
a
mean,
sense,
it
yeah,
does
I can
really.
see what you're saying in that. Yeah, because it's a loop.
Right.
Yeah, it's just a loop.
It's all
Yeah,
connected.
yeah, yeah. For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah, it's a good perspective.
Oh yeah. What are so all right, let's get into irreparable harm.
Okay. You want
I
me to
just
dive into it?
yeah, I literally just listened to that today, so I haven't had a lot of time to digest it, but I mean that just seems like such a, at least for me, it's a huge missing piece of the puzzle because
Yeah,
anything can be irreparable harm once you know you
it's all
fully
irreparable
know your
harm.
rights. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn near everything. If they disturb your happiness, that's irreparable harm.
Yeah. Well, think of it
Literally.
like this. You ever heard of a private nuisance?
I mean, no, not. I've never heard those words together like that.
Yeah. So there's a nuisance. There's a public nuisance. You've heard of public nuisance
Sure.
before.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Well, why not? Is there not a private nuisance then?
Okay. I see what you're saying. Okay. Gotcha.
Okay. So there is a real thing such as a private nuisance or nuisance in general. A nuisance in and of itself is actually a violation of your life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. It's actually in case law.
Okay. Now, I guess the devil to play devil's advocate, couldn't like some bitchy old Karen just like start bitching about every little thing and like claiming that as private nuisance like everywhere she goes?
Well, it has to be, of course, in totality of the circumstances. I mean, no one can just go out there and actively try to instigate drama and then think they're going to get something out of that, right? But again, if you are literally living in your life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, and someone comes across as though and to violate you without a reasonable, articulable suspicion or probable cause of a crime being committed, then I mean, what else is there than a nuisance? Especially if you're telling them, "Hey, I don't want to be bothered. I like to be free and on my way to go. I ain't committing no crime. You got a warrant for me? No? You got a warrant in my name? You got any warrants describing me right now? No? Okay. I like to be free to go. If you ain't got no crime, I want to go right now." That's literally should be the end of it. But again, they impose themselves and threaten themselves. So yeah, irreparable harm comes back in that because now we're getting threats and coercion. Now you're putting me into the aspect of involuntary servitude. Now you're putting me into the aspect of I'm required. And if I'm required, then that means you're trying to administer me. And administration of a free man is repugnant to his freedom. So you see how that all ties right back down to I'm not a servant of you. There is no involuntary servitude. That means I'm a slave. I could never be a slave. If I'm required, you're telling me I'm a slave. How can that be? How can you tell me, well, the state requires you? You're telling me now that a corporation is over the person who funds the corporation? Like, you don't even make sense in what you're saying right now. Like, how does that make sense? So, irreparable harm is any deprivation of a right, especially under color of law. Because again, that's Title 18, Section 242, right? It's any statute, code, policy, regulation that violates anybody's sacred liberty or right or privilege, right? Well, I have a right to travel freely. I have a right to be unencumbered. I have a right to just my movement without being harassed, unless there's a crime.
And
Uh,
everything that you're talking about right now has case law backing to it.
All of it,
Right.
every single thing. And I don't even need case law. I'm gonna hit with the maximum doctrines. They're already established before any of this. See, that's why I say I'm more on creator-endowed rights.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm going anything that we talking about. 90% of the time, these cops are violating constitutional rights to bring forth the claim or charge that they want to bring forth. Literally 90% of the time.
Yeah.
Like,
If not more.
my homegirl Lana, she just got stopped. The first words out of the dude's mouth was, "Hello, I noticed your license is suspended. Do you have your license, registration, and insurance?"
Mhm.
Bro, you literally just admitted that the traffic stop is invalid in the first phrase of what you stated. You can't pull somebody over to ID them in hopes or in a hunch that she is Lana, the person operating that car, or conducting themselves in that car, or traveling in that car. That's not how this works. You should have waited until you saw a traffic violation. Then you could have stopped her. Then you could have found out, is this person Lana and do they have a suspended license? You don't know who's in the car, bro. You don't get to operate on a hunch that the person in the car is Lana. The whole stop is fruit of the poisonous tree. Right from the inception of the stop.
So
No report.
I'm
Haven't issued.
assuming you would recommend everyone get dash cams or just record any sort of interaction with law
Yeah.
enforcement.
Well, yeah. Because they have a tendency to be able to edit dash cam or any body cams and stuff too.
That yeah, and I mean, and if you
And
don't
they
have
mute stuff.
footage, then it's their word versus yours at that point, right?
Yeah, and then like my boy Quentin, he had 6 cops show up, 6 different cop cars. Not one body cam shows up because of the egregious actions they took against him. See, in Kansas, you can't even get arrested. You can't even get it says it literally in their statutes. You cannot get arrested for any traffic infractions. And he done been arrested 3 times.
And dismissed all 3?
Not yet.
Okay.
Not yet. Not yet. One's about to go out. Actually, one's in Nebraska, 2's in Tennessee. Or no, one's in Nebraska, 2's in Kansas. But Kansas statute literally says that. They're screwed. So now we have not only civil suits, he's got civil suits, but his friends, because they're going the private route, they've also been, Sydney got arrested. Then you got Matthew, he was harassed. Then you got Kate, she was harassed. So now they're looking at bringing forth a class action lawsuit collectively and together we've already been developing because of these continuous egregious actions when the statute itself says they can't even be arrested. With recent appellate decision back in 2022 saying, yeah, y'all can't do this. So why are they still doing it?
To me, that tells me they're getting away with it with most people.
That's because nobody's standing up like us.
Right. They're consenting.
Nobody that stands up. That means everybody's consenting and saying, oh, it's okay. I don't know the true law. We're just going to do it our toe. We've got to come up here and now enforce it and then bring a class action lawsuit and civil suits separate. Right. It's crazy, dude. I just don't.
How many times have you been, I don't want to say arrested. How many times have you been in a contentious interaction with law enforcement?
In my younger days, a lot. More recently, in the past, let's say in the past 12 years, not a lot, really. It's actually been not a lot. There was one that ended up lying to me. Was it last year? Early last year. He's had no violation whatsoever. And I think the plates were still valid at that point. And he said that they weren't valid. I had just switched cars. And he said that they weren't valid. He said they came back as dead. He didn't enter the SL for special license. And so to him, it came back dead. And he ended up towing my car and dropped me off at the next exit. So I get my car out within an hour and a half.
What's a special license? I'm sorry, that part.
A special license, like a special license plate.
Okay. But yeah, so why would that be in his database at all, though?
Well, because, okay, so I had just switched cars. So my wagon had on my private plates. So when I switched over to this other car, I switched in my wagon for another BMW. And when I switched over, it already had plates that was still on it. So I just kept them on it. That's the same car I have right now. So when I'm going, he's saying, though, that there's no registration still on it and that it comes back to a dead plate. And that's why he pulled me over. That's on my channel. It's on my channel. And so, yeah, he tows the car. Within an hour and a half, I get it back out. And I don't register it. Again, I ain't got no insurance. I ain't got no driver's license. None of that. And I get my car back out, right? Because they can't hold your property, period, bro. Like, I don't know why people be having problems with that. You need to go in there and articulate more. I don't ever file anything. I just talk. And they give me my shit. Like, bro, I don't know who y'all think y'all are talking about you're going to keep my private property until I register it. I'm having it towed to go get stored and sit somewhere because of this illegal actions that y'all just did to me today. And I'm probably going to have it registered somewhere else. They can't tell you you have to register it in their state to get it removed from the lot. What? That's not how this works, bro. No, sir. So, yeah, I might have to go after him. He took it. And then I guess recently what ended up happening is, yeah, these last 2 times, actually this year I've had some pretty egregious actions happen. One from Washington State Police in March 3rd, where I'm parked on the side of the road,
I
right?
did
I don't
see
know if
that
you saw
video.
that one.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
saw that
dude.
one.
Like, why can't I just sit on the side of the road and enjoy the scenery, talk on the phone without someone coming in harassing me? First, you say you're coming to check on me. I say, oh, I'm cool. I don't need your service. And then you immediately say, well, you're going to get back in your car now and you're going to do what I say. What, bro? What is it? Because my skin color that you think you can just tell me what to do? Like, what is it? What is it, bro, that makes people think that they can just come up to me and start telling me what to do? I don't know. That was crazy, bro, because I gave him ample opportunity to leave me alone, and he would not do it. And immediately going to court, I mean, before I even sat down, they dismissed it immediately. So I don't know what to say about
Have you
that.
ever thought about going on the offensive?
Oh, there's already I already got a federal suit on there.
Oh, on that. Okay, good, good.
Yeah, I filed the federal suit before I even went to court.
Okay, gotcha.
What? That was egregious, bro.
Yeah.
The that one got, because it's Washington State Patrol. They're an agency under the Attorney General's office, and the Assistant Attorney General is their lawyer.
Ah.
So I'm going against the Assistant Attorney General. But what I will say is he's been very, very kind. He's been very professional. He's been very forthcoming. When you get up to the higher levels, man, they treat you with more respect. You would think that'd be the same case with the troopers, because they know they're commercial. It literally says it in Washington State Patrol's policy manual and their police training manual. The aspects that they know they're commercial. They know they're commercial. They know it's all commercial. They're trained as it's commercial, yet they're still out here violating people's rights. And that's because most people are under a commercial contract. So.
Yeah, they consent. But I just can't. I just got hip to all this stuff within the last 6 months, so it's like there is a level of deception for sure. The color of law, or the usurpation, as Brandon puts it with the 14th Amendment, and just deceiving all of us into being a part of commerce, a part of the commercial realm, the public, right? Public realm.
Yeah. Public policy, public realm, corporation side, operating in commerce, for sure. There's no doubt. It's a little trickery, but we're at this age now. It's an intellectual, technological golden age. There's no stopping what's coming, other than maybe a AI catastrophe of some sort. Other than that, man, the intellectual knowledge base is just going to rise from here. I mean, you cannot stop that. And as more, we're in the age of Aquarius. We know that through the alignments. This time period hasn't been around since 1776. And what a coincidence that next year is our 250th year anniversary for the Declaration of Independence. I mean, it's all correlating to an aspect of true harmony, and just an abundance of energy that's overflowing of unity again. Like, you can see it. I already see it. It's already transpiring. It's happening now, right? This moment. So as we tap into that, there's other campaigns that we seek to really bring forth too, and I'm really excited about those.
You can talk a little bit more about that.
Oh, okay, so I'll spark up on this one. So this one, we want to try and initiate it by the third quarter of this year, at least the fourth quarter of this year.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to try and get a reinstatement of the Homestead Act.
Now that was during the expansion years, right?
Yep.
And it was a certain amount of acres as long as you worked it for a certain amount of time.
Correct.
Okay. And are you literally trying to do exactly what it was before, or
let's think of this.
New numbers?
They have programs that are set up through the USDA, right? That if you live in a rural area, you can go through them to get a home loan directly.
Mm-hmm.
Through the USDA. Rurally.
Right.
Then you can go and do programs like, hey, we're going to set up schools and build it ourselves and get funding and grants to build schools and education systems and fire stations and all the necessaries for a city. The USDA will literally give you money to do that in rural areas. Now, let's think of currently what's going on in our society. Our society has gotten so bad on the housing market that people literally can't afford to buy a home anymore. In the 60s, you could have a father working to take care and put all of his children into college, and the wife didn't even have to work. Home, new car, all of it. Inflation has caused a big issue, yes, but we've also gotten to the point where people are just so greedy. Plus, we're honestly building homes that really ain't even meant to last, if you really think about it.
Yeah. The
The
prefabs.
homes that are excreting toxins constantly. I don't understand whatsoever. It doesn't make sense to me. I'm literally flabbergasted here on our line of thinking. So if I'm taking all of my research and everything that I've done and created, right? Instead of making what I had initially developed, which was more on the profit side, and turn it more into an initiative and project for a creation foundation organization side, what I end up seeing is small communities that flourish into self-sustaining, self-governance counties, unincorporated cities that are perfectly tied in to everything else as far as what the American true values are without being secluded as we're better or holier than, and participates, but yet has that boundary of constitutional limitations that the government will still deal with and honor, and some kind of mutual respect to bring benefit to all the surrounding areas, right? Because again, we have to remember if we're benefiting them, they're benefiting us. We want unity in all aspects. So we have to create that unity, maybe in a different way that still allows some kind of connection there.
No, I
Okay.
love it. It's a balancing act. And so it's moving away from us versus them, but it's still having a healthy boundary to say I'm not acquiescing to the fake law or the color of the law or the usurpation or whatever. The not the de facto bullshit that isn't true, de jure.
And you brought up a point that I guess maybe I haven't hit as hard on. That's what all of this is about. It's
Right.
to eliminate the us versus them and unify through bridging that gap. And that comes through knowledge. Right? Because everybody's always like, there'd be through all this sovereign citizen crap too, there's all these people too. It's like, yes, I'm for watching people get their ass beaten, windows broke. Oh, you idiot, listen to cops. Then you got the other people that are like, oh, F these jackboot thugs, right? And they're like, you idiot cops, it's like, yeah, but that's not doing anything but just like, it never ending. It never ends. It's
Yeah.
always a new problem to bitch about. And everybody's
Yeah.
just bitching.
No, I mean,
Um,
I think education is where it's at. Like that guy Sonny that was at y'all's Sovereignist Citizen event, and I think Brandon interviewed him anyway. Like that's where we need to be at. We need to be educated because honestly, if they understood this stuff, why would they even? I mean, maybe the only reason to be a cop at that point would be to transform your unit.
well, watch this. Last week, Sonny's got my number and we talked. Last week, Sonny had a study group
With his coworkers.
with other people, just in general public, about right to travel and things of that nature.
I gotcha.
One of the people there was at the Sovereign Citizen event and recorded it live and threw it up on Facebook. And it's just cool to see that you got a cop over here doing study groups with other people. You know what I'm saying? And it's literally spreading because Sonny wants to transition from police now to more of empowerment, this side, right? So we see now how what we've already started, that empowerment, is allowing people to finally burst through that fence that was holding them back, right?
And
That thing that was
once
saying, no, you
his
can't go. You got to stay with the brother. You got to stay with the blue line. We're now having people break free from that and
Yeah,
say,
and once they
no.
see him happier, that's what I was just about to say. Once they see him thriving, his old coworkers, they might be like, "Hey, what's going on here?"
Yeah.
Pique their curiosity.
Yeah. Well, we've had cops come to us and be like, yo, I've had several, bro. It's come to me and be like, I really respect what you're doing, bro. I never knew this. I can't change it right now. I'm trying to do what I can within to, all kinds of crazy stuff, bro.
Yeah.
Literally.
Hmm.
Literally, bro. People don't want to ruin the good money, I guess, that they get yet. Like I'm hearing a
Yeah.
lot of those excuses. Like,
Right.
I'm trying to change it from within, but it's, come on, man.
Yeah, I don't know if that's ever going to happen, but at the same time, I mean, I get if you're in that position that there's going to be some cognitive dissonance there where it's like, I don't,
Yeah.
I, I feel horrible because I realize what I'm basically representing at this point, what I'm
Yeah.
working for.
Yeah.
Um,
No.
So
But
yeah.
again, they always got discretion. They choose.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we all have choices, that's for sure. Um, a little bit off topic, but something that I've been saying on all of my recent podcasts because I've truly come to believe it. I've always believed it, but I believe it so much that I'm willing to like put it out in the world and vocalize it. Is I'm a philosophy grad, and I was like a kind of a math nerd growing up, and the whole philosophy thing was like a transition from analytic mind to like saving the world. This whole like college liberal type thing.
Yeah.
Uh, but I've reached the point where it's like I'm not worried about saving the world. The world's gonna be fine. Humanity probably needs. I mean, saving might be a little bit of an extreme word, but definitely needs to turn around a little bit or transition, level up, whatever
Yeah.
term you want to use for
That's
that.
better. Transition or level up for sure.
I think cannabis is that catalyst. I think cannabis is what's going to save humanity, not just from a medicinal or even recreational or even spiritual communion with the plant, the way that when we get high or ingest it or CBD or whatever, but also the textiles, like these other applications are going to start coming back as the plant becomes more popular, like hempcrete. I mean, it makes fiberglass stronger than fiberglass. It makes paper that doesn't, you don't have to take down the rainforest in order to, continue pumping all your paper companies. When you grow it, it actually gives back to the soil. The soil becomes more nutrient dense after growing it. Yeah, almost no other plant does that.
Right.
Um, I mean, the seeds provide omega 3 and 6 and 12 fatty acids that are essential for our bodies. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It can replace cotton, paints,
Yeah.
almost everything our houses are made of.
Right.
And I know you're a proponent as well. I just wanted to get your thoughts on all of that because I love
Yeah, cannabis
cannabis.
is amazing, bro. Like,
Yeah.
I think the biggest turnaround event for me that allowed me to know how powerful cannabis is as far as a medicinal use was when I lost my leg. They had me on
Mm.
pharmaceuticals.
Oh yeah.
And then I said, I don't want them no because it wouldn't let me eat. And I'm losing all this weight. And then I quit taking it. And I had like the worst pain I've ever had in my life in my stomach. And I was just like, what is happening to me? I feel like I'm dying from not taking these pharmaceuticals. So then my friend was like, well, for your pain, why don't you just smoke weed? And so I was smoking weed and night and day difference. And so that made me already right then realize, bro, like there's a reason why cannabis is taken away. Um, because first off, it's an uplifting thing. It lowers the depression. It lowers the anxiety. It increases appetite. It allows you to be more subtle and free and aware of kind of, I think, where you are. At least for me, anyways. I think a lot of people, when they first smoke, they're like, oh my gosh, my anxiety's out the roof. Yeah, it's going to happen. You got to build up a little bit of tolerance first. There's no doubt about it.
Or you
But
can confront what the root cause of that anxiety is, because I don't believe cannabis even makes people anxious. I think it amplifies what's already within them, and
well, I
sometimes it'll
think the
show them.
anxiety comes from the paranoia of not knowing what's going to happen while you're high. And so people kind of, they're just like, I don't know what's going to happen. Um, and then that is, in itself, yeah, you're right, root cause. So it is within themselves. But I also think too, there's a little bit of like tolerance because you just get a little, man, your first time's getting high, you're gonna get out a little bit out there, bro.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, don't let's keep it real now. Um, for real, it's been a while, bro. And whoa, bro. Okay,
Yeah.
all right, then. Okay, your hands start going a little bit further and further as you thought they stopped. So it's always fun, but yeah, I don't know if it's that or if it's DMT trips, but I wouldn't even single it to that one thing like that changing the world. I think it's more of I think it's even bigger than a substance. I think it's honestly just knowledge. I think that's the only thing that's going to change this whole world or this nation. I think it's just down to knowledge. Like, who do you know that you are? Um, can we stop? Can we start really respecting human lives again as though they are God? Like, that's the biggest issue. Is that
So
we're so
I
freely pulling the
I don't
gun.
disagree with that, but I would say yes, and our bodies have an endocannabinoid system. Like we are one with this plant.
Oh, no doubt, I am for sure. 100.
Yeah, facts. And like when you say the knowledge, like I feel like there's a level of knowledge that's like deeper and richer that plant ally provides to us.
Oh yeah. Okay, for sure. Yeah.
Like beyond symbols and words and everything like that. You know what I mean? Like it's just part of our evolution, part of our destiny. For me, that's how I see it.
Well, I mean, my whole aspect is we came from a higher state to a lower state, anyways, right? So I'm more of like the esoteric Gnostic version of what happened. I don't ever think we came from a monkey state up. I think
Okay,
we
I see
came
what you're saying.
from
Okay, yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I think we came from a translucent higher being state down into this animalistic state in which we are
I
now.
agree.
I mean,
I do believe you. Well, I agree. Let's
clues
put it
are
like
kind
that.
of there. We can see that there were big ass trees back in the day. I mean,
Bro, I mean, it's so
um,
much. It's so when you really dig into it, it's
giants.
like
We had people. You go back just a couple hundred
the
years, you got giants.
pyramids. The
Yeah,
pyramids is like the most obvious fucking one, right?
it's known we had giants out here, guys. It's all in the historical record. I mean, so yeah, man.
Ancient artifacts, all sort. There's so it's so much out where they call it
Yeah,
out of place artifacts.
yeah, big time.
Göbekli Tepe. I mean, it just goes.
Yeah,
The list goes on and on and on and on and on.
yep,
Yeah. So I totally agree that we were we were connected to the divine on a collective level at one point.
yeah. It was definitely different. I don't know what that looks like and how it became what it became. It's not really for me to question or even try to theorize or speculate on. I can see the facts for what they are, and you leave them there, right?
I think
Just
it was
look at
some
it at
sort of
that point.
nuclear bomb.
Man,
Personally, I mean,
something crazy.
yeah, yeah.
I don't even know if we're on a flat Earth or a round
Me
ball.
either. Me either.
It's so
In fact,
hard.
I don't know if it's either one. I think this is a hologram. I think
I
we're in
mean, it
some sort
could
of kind of
possibly be.
computer
Listen,
program, right?
dude, the dudes are measuring. We've got real intellectuals here now with scientific proof showing that there's a sun that we can see, and then there's a sun celestial body that we cannot see.
Like a
Okay,
black sun, right?
the black sun is real.
Yeah,
We have proof of it. It's been proven several times. You just have to use a certain type of scope that can be able to see that light spectrum, right? So that's a real deal thing. There is no doubt about it, 100%, bro. There's a black sun. So then once you know that, then if you say, okay, well now I'm going to measure the moon and the sun in its distance from Earth and triangulate that, due to the fact that we can literally see that if you're looking at the clouds, there's a triangulation of the rays. That's not very hard to see. And
right.
if the sun was 93 million miles away, all of those rays would come in equal from such a long distance, meaning that there would be no triangulation of a
I see
certain
what you're
point.
saying, right?
Okay? So we've come to find that
Or the triangulation would be not noticeable to the
yeah,
human
not
eye.
noticeable at all. Right. So what we have then is looking at it and saying, okay, well, we're going to triangulate that with certain methods, principles, calculations. People are able to do it now with all this technology to find that literally the sun's only like 4,700 miles away from the Earth.
47.
4,700 miles away from the Earth. That's it, bro.
No, the
That's it,
last
bro.
episode I did was on the number 47 because there's a lot to that number too. The Freemason compass is at 47 degrees. There's 47 degrees between the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn. Roswell 1947, Israel
What's
1947,
that come back to?
CIA.
Well, what's that come back to?
That there's some sort of code going on here. That's
Okay,
why I
no,
think we
no. It's numerical value.
in
Goes
numerical
four
codes.
and the seven. Okay, so the 4 and the 7 comes back to 11. So what's the 11 signify?
That's a power number. It's like 11, 22, and 33. I guess 11
For
is like
them. For them. What is the 11?
it's like transformation or like
You got two. You got two. And you're in between. You got two pillars, right? Okay? You got duality, right? Without light, there can be no darkness. Without darkness, there can be no light, right? You would never know what good is if you don't know what bad is. And you can
Right.
never know that
Oh
you're
yeah.
doing bad if you never been taught good, right?
Oh yeah. Yeah,
The
no.
duality must exist for both to know or to go.
And
You see?
47 embodies that too. The
Now,
4 and the
it goes
7.
into another. It goes into another, though. It's
Okay.
the left or the right hand path.
Mhm.
Okay? You got to stay in between the two. You can never do any or you have to stay centered.
It's a balancing act.
It's a balancing act. Never go too much to the left or too much to the right.
Mhm.
And always pursue forward. What's always in their thing is they got the sun and they got the moon. above the pillars. Then the male and the female. Okay. Then in the middle is the all-seeing God. That just signifies the all essence of God. Literally.
Yep.
Literally, that's all that is. It's very simple symbology, right? I've done a lot in the symbology, bro. So now I got a good friend who hates the Freemasons. And I'll be granted, he has every right to be hating them. Ryan Zim. That's my boy. I love you, Ryan. If you get around to watching this, brother. It's my boy. He proved horizontal refraction. A term that was never termed before, and he brought it forth. Literally did it, bro. All on his own.
In what context?
Okay. Horizontal refraction is based on the observer and the angle and perception in which they're looking, right? Because you have lenses. They're angular. Okay, so let's say we get up higher and higher and higher and higher and higher into the atmosphere, okay, and we have to look down further and further and further and further and further, where your angle of incidence is changing more and more and more. So when they have the cameras, and let's say they're at a 90-degree angle, okay, and their angle of incidence is not getting tilted more and more, what happens is the plane stays flat. If you're looking out straight at 90 degrees, all of the plane is going to be flat. The only time that it starts to curve is when you start to look down. Your angle of incidence starts to change. When you start to look down, the ball Earth starts to curve. That's why if you turn a camera up, it curves up. But if you turn the camera down, it curves down. Fisheye or not, it don't matter. It's the angle of incidence. He proved horizontal refraction, meaning that at the 90 straight degree, you have no horizontal refraction. But the moment that you go down or up, the angle of incidence causes that plane of existence to change. Horizontal refraction.
Got it. So that's evidence supporting flat Earth.
Big time.
I see.
So that's bringing us all the way back to aspects of change within the aspect.
Is that like the Kali? Oh no, that's the Mayan calendar there.
They've been here for a long time, bro.
The lunisolar.
Listen. You want to know what this really is? This is an Atlantean.
Okay.
This calendar was actually created in North America. The Magi's were invoked into Huehuetlapan to create that calendar. All across the world. They don't teach you the truth in schools. They don't tell it like it is.
Clearly.
So we knew that there's always, it's like the Adam-Eve story. Have you ever heard of the Adam-Eve story?
Oh yeah. In fact,
okay, so you know that this realm is going to go through another repetition of great catastrophe.
Yeah.
Now, is that because the sun moves and rotates across the plane? We've seen maps where we see Antarctica clearly with no ice and animals.
Yeah, no, I know. I have seen that before.
We've clearly seen Hyperborea with 4 rivers and a magnetic mountain in the center. All green, not frozen.
You're talking about the magnetic mountain at the North Pole?
Now, we know that Polaris never moves.
Right.
But that's not to say the sun doesn't.
No, the cosmos is interesting. That's it. There's so many pieces of evidence that seem contradictory to me that forces me to believe that we're in some sort of like computer program where I think the double slit experiment is really pointing to it's an important one, you know, like because light will literally change its behavior whether or not it's being observed or not. So, like, there's a trickster element to the universe itself. You know what I mean? Like,
which allows you to know how much more of the essence, as far as God, that you are.
Yeah, no facts. The yin yang. You said you're a big fan of symbology. I mean, the yin yang is my symbol, man, and it's the balancing act. But like that yin yang, I haven't looked into all symbols. I'm not into all symbols as much, but the yin
I mean,
yang,
it's everywhere for me.
it resonates with me on
It's
such a deep level.
it's everywhere. You see what I'm saying? It's
Mm-hmm.
all about duality.
Yep,
You got to tap into the duality.
100%. And it's not even, we're already tapped into it though. It's just like it's like becoming more aware willfully, like
Mm,
making the subconscious conscious, you know?
yeah. And that means taking the good for the bad and understanding what is happening with the bad and not taking it as such bad like punishment, but recognizing that you're not holding on to that. Right? See, a lot of things I have to talk people through is letting go of the fear and intimidation because they're holding on to it.
Mhm.
They're holding on to an actor that is
Yeah.
presuming that they have authority over someone.
Comfort.
And they've allowed that acting of these prosecutors, judges, which are just nothing more than clerks of the involved agency in which they're involved with.
Administrative clerks, yep.
Yeah. What we come to find is that, again, best reference, Yellow Brick Road, The Wizard of Oz. There's no better reference than that, honestly. Truly. You go down the Yellow Brick Road, you come to find that the Oz that you really thought was big and scary isn't scary at all.
Man
Matter of fact, this whole castle was waiting for you.
Yeah.
There's no better reference
that's
than
a
that,
great
bro.
metaphor. That is a good one. Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Yeah. So, and my people are walking down the Yellow Brick Road, and it just comes from knowing. So that metaphysical side is where it's at.
Yeah, I think meditating on the yin yang can, I mean, at least for me, it has taught me just the symbol alone. I know some people say the swastika, you know, and then it's got ancient roots and it's actually a good luck
Yeah.
symbol. And there's
Yeah.
all sorts of great symbols out there. Don't get me wrong. But the
Yeah.
yin yang is just perfect simplicity. And it just tells you everything about the cosmos in just that one circle. You know,
Yeah.
it's got the duality, but it's got the duality within the duality, and it's got the unity. The circle
Yeah.
is the overall circle is the unity, and then
Facts.
but everything is defining everything else. The light
Well, it's
defines it
also
all.
got. I think if I'm not mistaken, it's also got golden ratio.
There's look at my Instagram. It's my
Yeah.
pinned picture. It's the sacred geometry of the yin yang. It's so
Straight up.
much to it. It's so much to it.
I don't
But
know where my shell's at right now. I usually have my shell with me, and yeah, because I'm all about 3, 6, and 9, and you already know nine spiral, Fibonacci, golden ratio. It's all there, man. So,
Hell yeah.
hell yeah, bro. It's pretty
Hell
cool.
yeah, dude. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So where did you get on? So the Toltec stuff you mentioned during our intro call.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to go into that a little bit.
Okay. So how I got into the history is because I got into the Bible very heavily. And I just started picking that apart and started realizing there's just so many deeper meanings in it that I had to get deeper. And so when I got deeper, I started getting into all the esoteric books that go along with the Bible that they don't give you. The Apocryphas, and then all the secret books and all the books that they withheld. Dead Sea Scrolls, the whole 9 yards. And then I just branched out into all the religions. And then I came across this book that was called the Urantia Book. And I was really fascinated with it. I've actually read it twice. And it's probably the thickest, biggest religious book that I've ever read. And what it did is it just really uplifted my comprehension and knowing into a realm that I was already eager and familiar to find, which was a more intellectual comprehension to this reality than just what's presently given in these basic, I'm sorry to say it, basic religious perspectives.
Yeah.
More just because I'm on a deeper intellectual mind frame as far as being able to comprehend and bring forth and soak in what's presented. And I will be honest and frank, Urantia Book is a hard read. It's very deep, but it's like amazing. Not all things do I agree with it, but
Now,
the
who's the author and like what's the
Bro,
background of the book?
So the background of the book is very weird because apparently it was like channeled. They were doing channeling and hypnotism to be able to get it. But what's crazy too is that it's tied into the Kellogg family,
Okay.
like the true Kellogg family, right?
Cereals.
So yeah, the cereal brand. Yeah, so it's tied in with all that. And hypnotism and channeling was actually a big thing. It was not rare. It was known. It was practiced. There's lots of old books on it. You look at anything before 8.
Seances were pretty popular in the late 1800s.
Dude, America was really weird for a long time. The
Yeah.
1800s was, bro. I mean, 1800 to it was weird,
Yeah. For
very
sure.
weird, bro.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. English
way weird,
spies
bro.
all still trying to subvert the country and
So I go
all
through all
sorts
the
of stuff.
religion thing. I'm still coming back and forth in the law. I come out to figuring out, just more about America. I've always had interest in America, its history, and I'm always scouring like estate sales and. Well, I come across this one book. It's a Rosicrucian book. It's like one of their books they're not supposed to have. Actually, I went at this estate sale. I spent about $750, and this guy had 3 floors of nothing but books, paintings, maps, scrolls. I mean, this dude was just like it was all books.
Hmm.
And I got a
Good
lot of
find.
yeah, I got a lot of good stuff. A lot of good stuff. And one book just added all in there that I'm not supposed to have. And it just laid a lot out. And it put me into the perspective of I'm going on a hunt. And I
In
went on a
terms of
hunt.
like the operations of the cosmos or the self?
No, history in America.
Oh, okay.
History in America. Well, history in America and all throughout the nation. And or all throughout the what we know, at least right now on the map that we have, and they're allowing us to see and know as far as lands that exist. So once I started getting into those realms, I started tapping into other people who are in the realm, such as Kurameo Ahua, shout out my boy. Uriah Brandon over at UBTV, shout out my boy. Both of those are probably my main 2 guys that I would shout out on the history side. But coming and tapping in with them and working with them and building another channel that I have that's not law oriented, that is history oriented and somewhat metaphysical as well.
What's that channel called?
I think I got it under Tlatoani, so let me put it in the chat real quick. I think it's like I'll just spell it out so you can see it. I think it's Tlatoani Machi. I think it's
Okay.
like that in
Mm-hmm.
YouTube. So that's a Nahuatl title, which means the leader who speaks knowledge, right? Tlatoani was a sovereign ruler that was true to well, you can look it up on Wikipedia. Yeah, y'all go look up what Tlatoani Machi is. And anyways, so once I started really getting deep, I started finding figures like Anatoly Fomenko, who's a Russian mathematician who ended up finding that there's codes and replicas and duplicates and phantoms within our historical record. Like one person will actually be several different people throughout history, but with just different titles and names.
I've heard William Shakespeare was that.
Could be. Could be. I don't know for certain. I didn't read all of Flamenco's books. They are very well spread out, and he's done a very great job. Even though he has a more Russian approach to everything, everything is Russian. Um, the overall archiving or the overall aspect of everything that he's bringing forth is true in relation to the Phantoms. I definitely agree in those aspects. Then I got more into again just tribal aspects, historical fallacies. We got into the whole African slave trade narrative and clearly killed that. That is totally debunked. What ended up happening is that they were bringing slaves from South America up and Mexico up, the southern tribes, the people from Florida, the people from Mississippi, the people from. They were literally enslaving the true native people of America. I'm not even going to go into deep depths of this, but in relation to what they used to call a lot of people, we say the N word. I'm not going to say it right now. If you look into the oldest of oldest dictionaries, you will come to find that term actually meant a native Indian or Aboriginal person of America.
I've definitely heard theories that say that the native people of America were dark skinned.
There is
Not
no theories. It is a fact.
That's a fact.
That's a fact. The mound builders, they're labeled now. See what ended up happening. See, and I'm the only one that's really brought this forth. If you search up Hue Flapalan, what you'll come to find is I'm literally the only person. And the reason is because I have no bias. I have no bias whatsoever to care how the story is told, just the story needs to be told. So see, the problem is people have prejudices and biases on how they want the story to be told. I don't. I have no prejudice or bias. I can't be. I've come too far across the spectrum of time, in and throughout all existence, to sit here and try and be biased in relation to a color or culture whatsoever. I exist beyond this realm. So how can I be biased?
I feel that way as well. So, but I want to hear the story.
Okay. So what ends up happening is that we have civilizations somewhat begin to start up in your Ireland, Greenland area. Okay. Then they move down because they want to get away from the cold. Okay. The cold is actually the cold.
Gotcha.
It's actually coming in. As they transfer further south, there's less rocks for them to deal with and more clay and dirt. What they begin to do is they begin to build, they begin to build the most beautiful structures and patterns that you will ever see. It's almost like code. Like I could show you right now, but it'd be too much. I would just reference you to Tlatoani Machi, and you can see it on one of the Tlapalan videos. The aspects of what was created shows that these people were distinct and different from those who came later, or mixed with others who intermingled. When we dig up what they label now mounds, they're not mounds, they're structures. They're the same structures as what we find in Mexico as we go further south and in Central America. Okay, so they're the same people. Okay.
Now, what were these structures for? I mean, you might not, you can say you don't know, or was it religious or?
Yeah, a lot of religious purposes, a lot of homes. Literally, these were structures. This was a city, man. This was a literal city, just like what we're finding now in the Amazons through all the FLIR activity that's going on. We're scanning the Amazons, and they're literally finding huge, amazing structures.
Yeah.
And civilizations are like, what? Yeah, we was a lot bigger than you thought. Now think of that, but even more on an extreme level here in America. So much so that I will share one, because this one's easy to actually find. I can find this one fairly quick. Like this one will just blow your mind, like in relation to the easy symbols that we can. So we got, let's do. Nah, this ain't no speculation. Oh yeah, here we go. We'll just make sure that we go to the Ohio State University website for y'all. Okay, I don't want y'all to. Cameron, you're just making stuff up. Stop it, Cameron. Okay. This was what they claimed was a mound. Does it look like a mound to you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that happens.
Now, I see an oil burning lamp. Okay. Or I see a Phrygian cap, which is also a Phoenician cap. I also see, what is this? Does this anybody see? Is this common to anything anybody's ever seen before?
Yeah.
Anybody know any Jewish symbols that look like that?
Yeah.
Okay. Then you got the compass, and you have the square. Oh no. Tough. So where did Freemasonry really originate? Okay, let's get this number one. Okay. Now look at the river. Okay, look at the river. Do you see how big this truly is? This ain't small. This ain't small. This is very big. Okay? It was destroyed. It was actually bulldozed by the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. Why would they do that?
Well, they've been doing it with all of ancient. I mean, the Smithsonian Institute is literally just a cover-up organization as far as I'm concerned.
Why are all these structures now gone? Now, when we actually went into these structures at a certain time period, right? I got a lot of this actually still on my Instagram. It's on my YouTube. Dr. Moorhead, he didn't find anything of the Mongolian types. Not whatsoever. No Tartar relation or Mongolian whatsoever. They were actually Negro in all characteristics. Dreads and all, bro. Nappy hair and all.
Doesn't surprise me.
So I don't know what to say.
Hidden history. So much of it, I mean, this is a little bit off topic, but what we're talking about applies. Like, have you heard that the 9/11 conspiracy, everybody knows about the 9/11 conspiracy, and there's a few popular ones out there, but have you heard that there was nobody in the building at all, and that the hospitals were preparing for this large rush of people and nobody showed up?
No, I think people probably had to have died. There's no way.
That's what I said when I first heard this too, but I feel like there's layers of conspiracy sometimes. Like,
there's no way.
I
I experienced that firsthand, bro. They made me watch that on TV. I experienced it all, bro. Like, I experienced that thing. That thing was crazy, bro.
Yeah.
It was wild. And I watched the whole Building 7 fall. Yeah. And I knew from there, I knew it was the government. Sorry, I don't want to say it on your channel like that, but yeah, I knew it.
Well, yeah. No, I think that's the government is very vague, but yeah, I agree.
Well, the dark government,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, rogue agencies.
Yeah, rogue agency. Yeah,
yeah.
But I mean, there is no coincidence of what was said while George Bush was definitely at that school before him.
Yeah.
I mean, there is no coincidence with that.
Nah.
You can't coincidence that. Plane, hit, steal, must. There's no way, bro.
Yeah.
That's too much. That's
for real.
They knew. They knew.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I think it was definitely a planned event. I mean, most conspiracies would say that, but the level of there was nobody in the buildings. They had already evacuated the buildings. The hospitals were not overrun. Almost nobody died. The only people that died were rescue people that went in looking for people and didn't find any.
Well, that's like saying that all the planes don't get gasoline; they just get pumped up with compressed air.
I mean, I don't know.
I don't know either.
I'm not filling it with gas, so I can't say for sure, but
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's why we definitely live in a world where deception is still. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I think you feel it too. The age of truth and light is starting to make itself seen, but the age of deception is still in the lead for now. I think. We're changing that.
But that's okay. Yeah, that's okay. I mean, we're at the very beginning, dude. Listen.
Yeah.
To get where we're at within 6 months, literally, is 7. No, we're not done. We just started 7. Is really amazing. I don't see how. This is most definitely the universe and the great creator working in numerous ways here.
Mm-hmm.
I've known this was coming for a long time. It's just, I didn't know when. I thought it was going to hit when I was 36 years old. I was already manifesting 36 and it didn't hit, but I didn't give up either. And now we're here, and it's happened exactly the way.
I turned 36 in 4 days, so maybe you were manifesting.
Badass, bro. That's a good number, bro. It's a very good number.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
Very good number.
Well,
the 3-6 turns into the 9, right? So it just comes back circle, just comes all the way back. 3-6 now, 3-6 now, 3-6.
And there's 12-year cycles, right? There's I forget what the 12-year cycle is, but like that's the whole reason why they set us up with like 12 grades, but they start us at 6 years old.
No,
so we're like off.
No, they're taking away. No, they're taking away the 13 months. That's what that was.
So,
by taking away the 13 months, they're taking away the aspect of being able to tie in to the secretion. Okay,
it's like a circadian rhythm or a rhythm method type thing going on there biologically.
The method that you have a secretion that goes all the way down your spine, and you have to rise it back up. Okay, so it's called the Christos. Okay, you excrete, and it goes down the spine. And over those 28 days, if you are able to rise that back up to the spine and excrete and bring that forth, bro, you're hitting expansion for real, for real. So there's a training on that aspect, right? You just got to get to understanding that. And I got a couple of videos on my Tlato and Machi. I think it's called The God Man, Christos Within. And we go through that Pretty good. So that people can understand, again, those parables that are laid out in Christianity. Man, it's so cool. I love this stuff. But yeah, they took away that 28-day cycle away from us to get away from the natural rhythm of just understanding really the true seasons. That's why we literally have the beginning of the year and dead ass winter. Like they totally kill their culture, bro. Yeah. Like what?
Yeah. Yeah. No, the way we measure time is definitely imbalanced. It's causing disharmony rather than creating harmony.
And then we're not migrating no more.
Yeah, no, I know. I totally agree with that point. I don't know if you've ever read any Daniel Quinn, Ishmael, My Ishmael, but that whole argument is that civilization is actually humanity's downfall. We're meant to be hunter-gatherers. It's okay to know agriculture, but to settle and to just base a whole civilization around agriculture that was the beginning of our downfall right there. We're supposed to be on the move. We're supposed to be following the hunt. We're supposed to know how to gather, berries and stuff we're supposed to be able to identify the stuff that's just out there. Food is
the sun.
There's
the
so
sun
much
too,
food.
bro.
Yeah,
the sun too,
the sun,
bro.
right? No, exactly. Sun gazing, all of it. Yeah.
Yeah, the sun is everything. Like, and when people get into those winter aspects and keep themselves there, that's not really healthy for you. I don't think.
Yeah.
Like, I think you need to be in the sun. I think you're meant to be in the sun. I think you're meant to be around that lush, flourish.
I think we are solar beings, literally.
Yeah,
like
facts,
we feed off of the sun. It's actually the most primary. I mean, think about everything that we eat. It either ate plants, which got its food from photosynthesis, or it is a plant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's all coming from the sun.
Straight up. Yeah, so I'm essentially to the point where I'm getting in my life where I never want to experience another winter unless I want to go skiing. You know what I'm saying?
In Southern Cali?
No, right now we're in Washington.
Oh.
Yeah. But I'm getting to the point in my life where I'm like, dude, I really just want to be in full-time summer. So if I got to go to South America for the rest of the year, I'm about to start doing that.
Hell yeah.
Like what? For real, dude. Like,
yeah.
Hell
yeah. So, talk about your channel, where people can find you. I know we didn't get into law too much because I like talking about the more spiritual, metaphysical, and philosophical stuff. And cool. I could tell you were down for it, so I was just like, all right, let's go for that. But as far as your channels, we talked a little bit about the I don't want to pronounce it wrong.
Tlatoani Machi.
Tlatoani Machi.
No. Tla.
Tala.
Yeah, so Tlatoani.
Tlatoani Machi.
Yeah, there you go. Tlatoani Machi.
Tlatoani Machi.
Yeah.
So that's the more metaphysical and historical channel. What about the law channel? What's that one called? I subscribe to it, but I forget the name of it. It's like the people.
Power inherent in the people.
Power inherent in the people. What's your elevator speech? What's your message for the people?
The only thing I can ever say is I am you and we are us and we are all part of the great creator. That's it.
So true, man. It's been awesome talking to you.
You too, bro.
I'm gonna talk to you in Wisedome, and we'll continue connecting, my brother.
For sure, bro. It's nice talking to you too.
Yes, sir. Enjoy your evening.
Talk soon. All right, you too. Bye.
Peace, man.
I see the signs and I'm moving about as quickly as I can now. Used to wake up at dawn, check my Nikes for roaches, wipe the coat up out my eye, light up tree to fight the notion. I was far from getting on, now it's looking like I'm chosen, huh? Grinding so hard, you think I'm trying to bust a Trojan, but I know it's approaching like I copied and pasted from prophets and sages how to penetrate hearts. So what I jot on a page, I might reposition stars in the thoughts. In the space, you get conviction mixed with art. When I hop on the stage and believe we need healing, plenty beats need killing. So my pen bleeds, feeling it's deeper, they ain't spilling. Yeah, every time I speak, reveal it. I think brilliant, and I'ma reach 1 million of souls with these lines so precisely designed that it might seem divine. On the road to perdition, the blind lead the blindness on the screen and in the sky. Everywhere I see the sign, let go. I see the signs and I'm moving. I see the signs and I'm moving. I see the signs and I'm moving about as quickly as I can now.